Hi everyone, welcome to another webinar. And welcome to a webinar which is all about reports. As you know, training is an investment for your organization. And of course, when you invest on something, you would definitely want to see the results of that. So join us today to see how you can get all the data you need to evaluate your training efforts and all the data that you need to make the appropriate changes if needed within TalentLMS. TalentLMS has a robust reporting system, and we are here to show you how to make the most out of it. And of course, one thing that we need to notice here is that everybody has access to TalentLMS reports. And when we say everybody, we mean everybody. Learners can see their own progress on their dashboard. Instructors can see the progress of the courses that they have created. And of course, administrators, they can see everything in the account. So let's get started because we have a lot to talk about. My name is Theo. I am part of the customer education team, and I'll be hosting this session alongside my good colleague, Eirini.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to our session today. I'm Eirini. I'm a senior customer education specialist, and we're here with Theo to help you get a good dive into Talent LMS data.
And you will hear from Eirini a lot more in a moment. But now let's see what we would like to share with you before even we start. The webinar is recorded and you will receive the recording once the session is over. We highly recommend you to share it with anybody who wants to see how to work with data in Talent LMS. And of course, feel free to spread the word and have anybody who you might want to train on reports use this webinar as a training tool. But we're not just here to show you and present a reporting system. We are here to answer your questions. And we invite you to use the Q&A button that you will see in the meeting controls. And from there, click and ask your question. You can do it anonymously if you would like. And we will take regular question breaks during the presentation to answer your questions as we go. And of course, at the end, we'll also answer questions. So even from now, if you do have questions, feel free to pop them onto the Q&A session. Behind the scenes, Ben will also be helping with questions. So the more you bring to us, the more we will try and answer. And another thing as well, we are talking about reports, but let's recap about what we will see in this webinar. We will see how learners can track their own progress, how instructors can track training adoption and the outcome of the courses, and of course, how administrators can work with reports. Administrators can see all of the data of the account. Instructors can see what data they have in relation to the courses they have created, and learners, of course, they can see only their own data about their progress. So, without further delay, start asking questions if you already have one or ask questions during the session. And I'm going to pass the mic to Eirini to start showing us how learners can see their own progress.
Thank you, Theo. So I'm going to share my screen so we can see that together. I have already logged in as one of my favorite learners, Pacify. So right now I'm logged in as a learner, and when a learner wants to check their own progress report, they will simply click this button here. The first thing you will see is the overview tab, where you can see your activity and your progress overview in charts. Also, in totals here, you have the courses in progress, the completed courses, your training time. Also, the badges and the points, which can also be viewed if you scroll down a little bit further from here. So you can see all the badges you have earned. You can see there's another extra tab here. And the gamification points, if we click here, the leaderboard will pop up so the learners can check at any point where they rank and who they compete with. Right next to the overview tab, we have the courses tab. From here, the learners can see the courses that they have been enrolled to, the progress they have so far, and the score for the completed courses, the date of enrollment, the completion date, and of course, the time they've spent in a course so far. Moving on into the next tabs, you can see tests, surveys, and assignments that you have participated. Also in tests, you can see the result and the score. In the surveys, you can see the time that you spent in the surveys. And when it comes to the assignments, also the status and the grade that the instructors have evaluated you and the time that you spent. And if you want to, with this little eye, you can also check the answer that you uploaded. Next up, is the certificates that you have earned so far. And from this button here, you can download it. And last but not least, the timeline. This is your activity log. So you can see all your actions registered here. Now, if you want to download your progress report, simply click this export button here and you will download it on the spot in a detailed version. It's a detailed Excel report, and you will see basically the overview and all the tabs that that you also have access through here. And also, if you go here on the top and click on the infographic, you have access to your own training infographic. The infographic, it's an up-to-date report. So the more you scroll down, the numbers are changing into the latest data. It's a report with sections and graphics. So it's a visual presentation of your training progress, which can be downloaded from here by clicking the export button as a PNG image. And that's all from me. So, Theo, can you take over as an instructor?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Rini, for sharing with us how the learner can see their own reports. But now let's take a step back and become an instructor for a moment. So I'm going to share again, and I hope you can see now my portal. And what you see here is that I'm logged in as an instructor. And that's, of course, visible from the top right there. So the instructor, as we said, they can have access to the reports of the courses that they have created. So one of the courses that we have created here is this one, Creating Engaging E-Learning Training. So let's click on that and let's go to the right side where you see the reports button. And in the course, you can see lots of different units. And in the report, you will see data related to those units as have been handled by the users. So clicking on reports, first of all, what we have an overview. The overview has, of course, the course information and a quick overview of how many learners you have assigned to this course, how many completed learners you have, how many learners have not started. And you see here that I need to nudge some people, how many instructors are collaborating with you, and of course, the overall training time that has taken place in here. And further down, you have the progress overview where you can hover as well and see the related charts as displayed there. And on the overall here, you will be able to click and adjust your data based on today, based on yesterday, just this week, this month, or of course, this year. And as you can see, this is the test account, so there's not any real user here taking training, but still you will be able to see real data on your own portal. And one more thing here before we go further. Can you get the report? Can you download it? Absolutely. You can click and you can download the report in Excel. And you can also click on the drop down there and you can schedule the report. Now, why this is important? First of all, because you can always download it and then send it to somebody who needs to get it by email. But again, do you really want to do it for any report that you want to have, like download and open your email and send it? There's no point, right? So click on schedule right there, drop down schedule, and you can send this reporting back. For example, if I say that I want to have this report sent out every Friday, you click on weeks, slide back to one. So every 1 weeks. And then, of course, you will be able to actually pick the day, Friday. You can even do it Saturday or Sunday. No real person is doing that, so you don't have to worry about them doing a weekend shift. So let's say Friday then. If I click schedule, that report will be sent by email to the email address I have declared here, so to my own email. But if I want to share it, custom recipients, and there I can add whichever email address I want. I can have more than one. So that can be, for example, Irene, or that can be Ben on the chat, or I can be my VP, or it can be even myself on top of them. So that's going to be my email right there. Now, all of those people will get separate emails, of course, and by clicking schedule, you set this and you really forget it. You can go on holiday without having to remember who to delegate the sending of the reports, and you will be able to just set it once. And if you need at any points, then you can adjust it as well. But what does an instructor see here? First of all, the user list. Here you can see all of the users that have been associated with this specific report. For example, you can see the user names, the progress, score, completion date, time, the certificate they have, and if you use custom fields, of course, you can see those too. But how do we sort them out? You see that the list here is not very tidy. If you click on the progress, you can get them from the most completed to the list, or if you click again, you can get it vice versa. If you click on the score, you can do the same. So you can always click on the headers to provoke a different layout of the report. And you can preview and you can download the certificate. And another thing as well, you can always have SCORM files in TalentLMS. TalentLMS supports 1.2 SCORM files, and usually you do have some tests in them. So the test of the SCORM files can be seen in the reports, and you can measure and analyze those reports as well. So if I click on the options right there, we have here not a completed set of tests in the scoring file, because you can see John here is still in progress, but then you can see the rest of the people actually not having done it yet. And you have the option always to hover and then preview the results of, let's say, Sonata here. So you can see here a bit of the results, and you can go to the analysis and you can see how overall they have responded to the test. And that is actually the analysis that you would have to do outside of Talent normally with just getting the data. So we do it for you, and you can see here that this was a very clear answer, but then here it was a battle between the people who already answered that. So maybe you might want to monitor this question and see if the content is enough or you need to add more clarifications there. And how do we get back? Click on the reports. So there we go back to the place we were before. If you have assignments in, let's say, Talent LMS, you have the option as well to click on assignments right here, and you have the option to see results. But in this course, I don't have any. So let's go to another course and see another type of report. Remember, I don't have any reports button here because the reports for the instructor are visible inside the related courses. So I'm going to go for this one, Essential Soft Skills for All. Everybody needs those pretty much. So let's go to the reports now. And what did I promise you? Assignment reports. So click on that. And now we have 2 submissions, 2 people have passed. The average grade is this one. And then we get to the options there. And you have Levi and Pacify. You met Pacify before. Eirini was handling that user. And if I click to preview the answer, of course, if they have done an attached answer or a video or a screen sharing or anything that is not just text, of course, you can still see that here. And again, the timeline, that's something different now. This is where all you can see the actions that have been taken in relation to that specific unit in that specific course. So you have the option now to see all of the options that have been made in relation to that assignment. So let's go back to reports again. And apart from assignments, we also have tests. So click on tests, and there you have the quiz. And if I go to the options, of course, you can see all of the options once more. They familiar by now, I hope. Pie chart right there. The export button, you might see that in pretty much every report in Talent LMS. So you can always even export this specific report or just schedule the specific report. And again, I can always just go to Harry Potter here and then preview the test. And I can see how that particular user has handled the replies. And remember the analysis that we have seen in the SCORM report. If you click on the analysis here, yep, you guessed it right, you would be able to see the analysis of the questions in test. And you can see the first attempt, you can see the last attempt, and of course you can compare where you need to focus and improve maybe the content or check the users and see if they have any questions related to that. I'm gonna go back once more. And what we need to look at right now is the ILTs right there. I think there was a question from an anonymous attendee, if I remember correctly. I'm looking at the Q&A on the left, and they were asking if we can actually track attendance in live sessions. And yes, we can with lots of different ways. So first of all, we have the ILT reports right there, and we have the introduction with trainer session. So go to the options, and inside you can see the grading of those ILTs. Now, when somebody participates in an instructor-led training session, an ILT, a live event, that is where you need to grade them so they know how they performed. And this is what this specific report is showing you. It's showing you the results, the grade, the status, and of course, all of the related data. Now, if you go to the sessions, you can see details about each specific session. But again, this is something that has to do with the grades. So that's where we are focusing when it comes to the overview. I know that you might not find this question still answered. So let me just step back a bit and go back to the course here. So you see I'm in the reports and I'm going to go back to the course. What you might be looking after is how can I track people who have physically showed up? Well, there is another one. If I go now into my actual unit here, the ILT unit, I can hover and then I can go to the users. And from there, you can see all of the users and you have the option to go to print the attendance sheet. And you can customize it. If you click on the drop down, let's have a look and see what you have there. You have somebody's name, somebody's email. And on top of that, you can choose different fields if you would like to show them. I don't for now, but let's just save things as they are. If you click on print attendance sheet, what you will get is really a page with all of the people who have registered for the session, their email, and if this is a physical session, you are on the door, you have printed out the paper and they come in, they put a signature physical with a pen like we did the old days, and then they can always just, again, declare their presence on paper. Or what you can do is, of course, you can download it, you can fill it in, that's a PDF, and then you can upload it in your files of the course or just keep it in your records. If you have an integration, which we do support integration with Zoom, GoToMeeting, GoToTraining, Microsoft Teams, and Big Blue Button. If you have an integration, the physical people who have attended and left or any specific data for that, you would see it here. What we mark as attended is the people that have registered for the session and have clicked on the join button. So in the report that you shown, you will be seeing the people that are pending grading, and those are the people who have clicked the join button in order to go into the session. So any other data apart from that, that's on the meeting provider that you have integrated. But if you want to see who clicked and hopefully stayed in the session, this is what the ILT report will give you overall. And of course, you can use the attendance sheet as well. I hope that helps, and I hope that this specific question was answered. But again, any clarifications, please let us know in the Q&A. And a very, very final one, and I'm going to go back to reports now, is the surveys. And that is where you will be able to use reports about feedback surveys that you have actually used. So if you go on the options, you can see how people have actually, again, I'm going to go to my favorite one, Pacify there. You can see how people have actually rated and responded to the feedback and survey questions. And again, the analysis. Basically, we do the job for you. And you can also see any free text questions right there. One final thing, and then I'm going to wait for a question from Eirini, is the unit matrix. The unit matrix is where you will be able to see details about each specific unit and how users are handling that within the course, and that's going to be all in one page. So if we go to the users, you can see the users on the left, the units on the top, and then what you see in gray here is the units that have not been yet attempted. So the user didn't even touch it. The green, that's the color of happiness pretty much. They have passed, and you can also see the score here. The red, tough luck, they have failed. If you want to see information about the units, you can always click, and of course you would see real data in your account right there. And you can export, you can schedule, and you can work with different options. Very final thing, and then I'm going to stop talking and pass the mic to Rini, the timeline. What is a timeline? The timeline is a diary of all of the actions that have taken place in your account. And in this case, you can see pretty much Irene doing a lot of work here, and you can always just expand and you can see more and you can flick through the rest of the pages. It's very important to have a look at the timeline if, for example, you're trying to remember when did I grade that user, or when did somebody added a user in the course or removed a user in the course. Definitely, this is something that you can see on the timeline. I hope that this was an overview of what the instructor can do, which resonates with you. But again, the Q&A is there. Irene, do you have anything for me?
Actually, yes. We have a question from Katarzyna. I hope I pronounced it right. It says, is it possible to have final knowledge test to have a set amount of questions, but have more questions available in case people have to retake the test, so that when retaken, learners would get a portion of questions they have not seen in the first attempt?
Perfect question. So thank you so much for your question right there. One thought that I want to share with you before I show you how you can work with that. We're definitely talking about a randomized set of questions, but we cannot predict what they have seen in the first take and show them that questions in the second take. What we're going to do is we're going to create a randomized set of questions in the test, and maybe this is some of them in the first take, maybe this is some of them in the second take, but you can create a pool of questions which you can grab a separate portion of those and show them randomly. But we don't have a control to say, do not show the first attempted ones. I'm going to show you very quickly how to work with that. So if we go into a course, let's go to this course. And if we go here on the quiz, oh, let's go. I can go to another one. And you know why? Because this is locked. So I'm going to go 3 dots right there, and I'm going to unlock the course content. This is an extra tip because you see that happen to me. So you can lock and unlock course contents so people don't touch it. But if you are the one who created or an admin, of course, you can have the keys to the course. So I'm going to go to add a test, and we're going to call it random. And all I have to do is, of course, you need to have some questions in there, but you don't have to add them to the test. What you have to do is go to the randomized type of question on the right. And if I call it question pool, from the questions you already have created, you can add how many questions you want to have in there. So, for example, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 questions in there. Let's make them 10 so we can be even. And save them. And what I'm going to do now is I only have this question, nothing more here. So you see the drop down right there? Click, and I'm going to select 5. So from this pool of 10 questions, the test will pull just 5. The first attempt, 5 questions. Second attempt, other 5. Third attempt, other 5. Will some of them be common in all of the attempts? Yes, because it's random. We don't know exactly how the algorithm will pick them. And it's good that we don't do, because we don't want to predict or manipulate the algorithm. So it's really random, but you can have a pool of, let's say, 30 questions. And if you only choose 5 for each attempt, well, chances are that pretty much, well, you're definitely going to get a lot of different questions every time. I hope that helps. And I think that, Eirini, it's time to talk a little bit about the admin, right?
Yes, definitely. So I'm going to share my screen. I'm already logged in back as an admin. Okay, I hope that you all see my screen now. So now it's the administrator's turn. And as admins, you will have access to all reports that Talent LMS offers. So let's check that together. We're going to click on the reports button here. And the first thing that we see is the overview of your training report. Some mini statistics here on the top, and the graph of your whole portal's training activity. And you can also check that daily, weekly, monthly, yearly, or within a period of time. Now, if you want to download the detailed version of this report, click on this export button and it will be sent out to your email directly. Now, if there is a need to follow up this report frequently, apart from exporting, right next to this export button, we have the schedule functionality. Theo already showed us while he was the instructor how we can schedule reports. So kindly note that right next to the export button, this little arrow is always there to lead you to this schedule functionality. It's available to all reports. Now, here on the side, we already have some default reports. For example, users. From here, you can check in totals the learners that you have in your portal, your course assignments, the completed courses, the courses in progress, and the training time so far. And for each individual user, you can see their user type, when they last logged in, the assigned courses and the completed ones, and any custom user fields you have allowed to be visible in reports. And of course, if I click on a user, so let's click Laura here, we can see again the overview of the user like Theo and I showed you before. Only now we also have the schedule functionality available right next to the export button. Now, let's go back into reports and check on the course reports. From here, you can see again in totals the number of courses that you have in your portal, the assigned learners, the learners that managed to complete courses, the learners that are in progress with courses, the training time, and of course, the courses that you have, the category they belong to, and for each course individually, the assigned learners, the completed learners, and so on. And again, if I click on a course, I can check in detail every different option, every different tab that Theo showed us before as an instructor. So as admins, you also have direct access to those reports. You don't need to change roles and become instructors to access a course report. Now, if you have created branches in your portal, Talent LMS allows you to check the training progress of each branch individually, like the completion rate. So if I click on the branch, you can see for each branch individually how many assigned users there are and the completion rate. And of course, in totals, how many branches we have, the assigned users, the assigned courses, completed courses, and courses in progress within those branches. And like with the branches, the same applies for the groups. If I click a group report, we can see all the groups that we have in the system, the assigned learners, and the completion rate for each group. And again, groups, assigned users, assigned courses, completed courses, and courses in progress. Going back into the reports, the rest of them work as a shortcut to the reports that Theo already presented earlier. So for example, if you want to follow up on a test or a survey report, you can check this directly from this button. So no need again to switch roles and become instructors. Now, before we move on from this page though, we have another type of report that is worth mentioning, and we're talking about the custom reports. So if we scroll all the way down here, we click this button and click Add Report. This is a type of report that you create of your own. Talent LMS lets you create your own custom reports to narrow results to specific group of users. The custom reports are available on Plus plans and hires. And basically what you do, you set up your report, the name, the type, the rules that this report will follow. You can add up to 5 rules. We have a variety of rules here, and also the output, meaning the columns of this report. Just to give you an example of how custom reports work, let's check this one. It's a report about gamification statistics. So we were looking for users that have at least X points and have reached a specific level. So if I click update report, these are the results. And of course, this is a report that I can also export and schedule. But what makes custom reports really popular is also this drop-down menu here, the mass actions. So apart from narrowing down results, we can also save time by performing any of these actions to this list of people. There was a question, I think, in the Q&A about adding extra rows in the reports, if I'm not mistaken. Let me check really quick about this question. Okay, I don't seem to find it now, but I think that I saw a question about adding extra rows in the reports. If you're talking about the custom reports, meaning, and by meaning rows, you mean the rules that we can add up to 5. Now, if you're talking about the columns, let's say, that we have in the custom reports, if I click edit here in this custom report, for example. Here we have the columns. So if I click in this area here, I can add more columns, meaning more information on what I'm looking for. I hope this is the case. If it's not, please send us an email at trainingteam@talentlms.com, so we will get back to you if you can elaborate more on that. Now, moving away from the Excel reports, I'm going to show you before I pass the mic to Theo, the timeline. We've seen how the timeline looks like for learners and how it looks like in courses. Here we have the timeline of the whole portal. This is where you can check the activity log of your whole portal. So if you want to follow up on something really specific, we have here filters where you can narrow the time frame, or you can select the specific event which you want to follow up, maybe a specific user, or maybe a specific course. A tip that we have to give here is every time you access the timeline to click this X button so you can reset the filters. And for example, if you want to follow up for all the courses that you have deleted from your portal, all you have to do is just go here to the event, type deletion, and there you have all the deletion activities. So let's go into course deletion. And here we have the list of all the courses that have been deleted so far. And just another tip, if you want to restore any courses that might have been deleted by mistake or any users, you can do that from here. You can undo the deletion or even delete this course permanently. The same applies for the users too. And that's it for me. I think now it's time for our next Q&A break. So Theo, do you have any question for me?
Yes, absolutely. I have a great question. And in fact, before getting to that one, you already have answered quite a few in your presentation now. So thank you already. So there's a question from Caroline. So the question is there a way to get a report to a team lead only about his or her specific team members? So can we do that?
Yes, we can definitely do that. Basically, we will use the schedule functionality that you explained before. So if it's a specific person that needs to receive a report about their team members, if those team members belong into a branch or in a group, let's say that they belong into a group, all we have to do is go to the group report, find a group. Let's go to this one. And here is the schedule functionality. From here, as you said, you can set up the frequency. And of course, they will add their email here. And I don't know if we mentioned that, but the people added here in the custom recipients don't need to have any Talent LMS accounts. It could be any email. And of course, if you add more, no one will be aware who else receives this report. It's going to be in a business status. So this is one way to do it with the schedule functionality if you want to save time from sending those reports manually. Now, if you're looking for something really specific, in this case, if your plan supports it, maybe you could schedule a custom report where you have added the rules and the columns so that team lead can receive the results of their team members.
Perfect. And one more, and then you'll go search for questions. One from Mason. How can you schedule the matrix with different options selected? I think that's Mason is talking about the training metrics, right?
Yes, it's a report that we will talk about that later on. But just to answer that question, the training matrix is located here. It's basically a report that will give you a quick overview of the training status, but Theo will discuss more about that later on. So here we have the options where you can check the course score, the course progress, and the course code if you want to, apart from the colors. The schedule functionality is here. However, if by talking about different options, you're talking about specific users or courses that you want to show in this training matrix, if you schedule it, I'm afraid that the whole report will be sent out to that person. So what I would do is export it in Excel, arrange and adjust what columns and what lines I want my report to show, and then send it later on to my users. Otherwise, if you don't mind having all the users and all the courses, you can schedule it from here, and you can have available the course progress and the course score in here.
Perfect. And Irene, since you're already there, why not explain to us how the training matrix works? And then I'll go and talk about infographics and the branch admins.
Great. So the same like with the training, with the unit matrix, the training matrix is also using colors. to show you the different status so far. So basically, it's a report that have been requested from our customers. They wanted a quick overview of the training status so far. So we came up with this. You have the list of users here and the list of all the courses here. And if you click on the info icon, the different colors will show you the different training status: green for completed, red for not passed, orange for in progress, blue for not started, and gray for not enrolled. Of course, if you want to, you can move to the list of users or to the list of courses. And if you click on the options here, for the completed ones, instead of a tick, you can enable to have the score. For the courses in progress, instead of that little pie, you can have the actual percentage. And of course, when it comes to course code, you can have the course code right next to the courses here. And also, if you're looking for specific users, the search bar is here. So if I try to search myself, here it is. So you can have the training matrix of a specific user, or you can also use this little filter here just to narrow down the results into active users or users that belong to branches or groups. And of course, this is a report that you can export, as we said here, in an Excel, or you can schedule with the schedule functionality.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Eirini. And now it's my turn. Before we get further, though, two very quick questions because I cannot help it. It's like I need to answer those. So, first of all, from Mason, is there a plan to change this so you can have scheduled reports, schedule exports, my bad, for the training metrics with filters and options selected? Mason, this is a brilliant idea, and many people have also requested that. Definitely our product team already is aware of that, and of course I'm going to put your name on the list, the more the merrier in this case. And of course, if something like that gets into development, of course we will let you know. But thank you for sharing that. And of course, for anybody, if you want to share feedback, suggestions, feature requests, please bring them on. A second one, and then we'll go and talk about infographics and branch admins. Jess is asking, I'm inside the SCOM report section on the analysis tab, but I can't seem to filter down to just a specific course score. What am I missing? Jesse, I think, and that's just me speculating right now, right? I think this is what happened. So you're inside the SCOM report selection on the analysis tab. Question, are you logged in as an admin? If so, you see I am as well. I'm going to share my screen right here. And what I want to just double check here is if you're as an admin and you can access the SCORM reports from there, assuming that you are already in a completed SCORM, I hope, and there you are not, you seem to filter down just, you cannot seem to filter down just a specific course SCORM. You see that when you're looking at the analysis, for example, or maybe not this one, but if I go to another one which has an analysis tab, the analysis tab is dependent on which SCORM tool you use, and of course, the version of your SCORM, anything from 1.2 onwards. If you are in the analysis tab here, you don't filter the analysis tab. The SCORM file that you are already belongs, if you go back to the overview, to the course that you see underneath the SCORM file right here in the overview. So you don't filter the analysis of all of the SCORM files. You filter the analysis of just this specific SCORM file of that specific course. So the course is seen on the overview underneath the SCORM file. Now, I just speculated of what might be happening. But of course, we are here also to help you. So if you can send us a screenshot of what you're looking at trainingteam@talentlms.com, the email is on the chat already. Please send us a screenshot and we will be able to help. Or quicker for you, you can go to the help section on the top right there, contact support, upload your screenshots, they always need one, drop them a message, and of course, you will be able to just get a reply very quickly from our support team. So I hope that helps. Now, let's go back. Let's go back to our dashboard. You can click on the logo there. And as an admin, you see I am one now, I have access to pretty much all of the reports of the account. So which one is the first that we haven't yet talked about? That's infographics. So if I click on infographics, what you will see is a very interactive report. A report which is not just a matter of numbers, but it's a matter of graphs, pie charts, tables, pretty much you want it, you have it. And you can always create a new infographic. So let's do it. Create new. And I'm going to call it training review. And you can reference your entire system, which is your entire account, all branches included, all groups included, every single thing. Or you can just select branch and you can have it for a specific branch. Now, just a small pause here for anybody who is not aware about what branches are. Branches are independent training environments, and those can be built, if your plan supports it, to provide training to different audiences, that being partners, customers, the public, your individual different departments, your multiple global locations. Think about it like separate Talent LMS accounts within your big Talent LMS account. So you don't have to have many portals, you can have one portal with lots of branches. And the people in the branches can only see the courses that are available in their branch. So if you have two branches, which is customers versus internal training, those people will never meet each other because they're in separate branches with their own dedicated content in one. So you can create infographics based on a specific branch if you want. Or you can create infographics based on a specific group. Groups are used to create bundles of courses and mass assign them to people. Now, I'm going to do the entire system because I want to pull data for everybody in my account, no matter the branch, no matter the group, no matter the course. I'm going to do the artistic here. I'm going to go for mint, and that's the color. And the artwork, well, I'm going to go for arts. Let's go full art today. And the reference period here, that's all, which is from the beginning of time, the beginning that your portal was actually generated, or that's going to be this week, this month, year, or you can do a specific period of time and pull the desired dates of the calendar. Again, I'm going to go for all, and that's just to show you the power of the infographics. So let's create one. And the moment I created the infographic, you see here that the editor has been activated. And the infographics work with different sections. Now, you might be wondering, what are those sections? I had the same question as well when I joined for the first time. So you can hover participation, and that's the active learners that have started at least one course. Engagement, progress. You can always hover and see what everything is. And then you can edit the section, or you can edit this section. And then you see, do I want to have a title? No, I can see it's talking about people. Do I want to have the admins here and the instructors? No, just the learners and my overall user account. So update. You can do the same for pretty much all of the different sections. But what I want to show you is, of course, you can go and do it upstairs there, just switch the editor off. And you see the numbers are generating as we speak. And this is a real-time report. What you see is what has happened as of just now in the account. Do you want to compare it? Yeah, why not? So compare with, let's say, last year. And the moment you do that, you see the percentages being calculated of the increase or the decrease, depending on the case. So not only you can see the infographic being there and delivering the data in a way that you would possibly take a lot of time to do in Excel yourself or in any other software, but at the same time, you can go to the three dots and export. Now, why am I so passionate about it? Because if I have a meeting that I have to present my training results to my executives, I can share my screen and show them the entire thing in here, or I can just download the infographic. You see, I clicked here, export. And trust me, if I walk in a board meeting with the executives and show them this, they wouldn't know that I didn't make it and that that was just a product that I got in my hands in 5 minutes. Of course, in our company, the executives know because we built the product. But in companies where you're not building talent LMS, definitely this is something that will help you a lot, produce results that would be very easy for people to present in a boardroom or in a meeting. And final thing, I pretty much mentioned branches in a just snippet there, but I'm going to answer Brad questions with what I'm going to say next. So Brad is asking, does an admin of a branch have the same access to reports if they're not an admin in the main account? So great question. Quick answer is no. They can see reports, but not all reports. I'm going to show you what I mean. The fact that I am an admin in the main accounts means that I can see reports in the main account. But if myself, who I'm a super admin here, I can do everything. If I go to a branch, let's say this one, this is for a fictional client that we can have. So I use it to show people how to work with branches. So here you can see the reports. The branch admin has access to the reports for the branch itself, for the users of the branch, the course of the branch. Can you spot what is missing? Yes, it is custom reports that is missing. And custom reports is something that we cannot use in the branch. But let me explain why. The custom reports, as Eirini demonstrated before, is a set of reports that can get you access to the entire database. So I can find users who have not logged in within 30 days, who have not completed a certificate, who have gotten a certificate the last 6 days, and all of those different rules. And that will dig up my entire database for the data. Do we want people in the branch to have access to your entire database of your accounts? No. So this is why we do not have custom reports in the branches. But we do have other reports. We have all of the familiar reports, even infographics, even training metrics, assignments, tests, surveys, you name it, we have it. But not just custom reports. How do you get custom reports if you're a branch admin? You talk to your big admin, your main account admin. So even if you're not part of the main account and you're just a branch admin, to be fair, that's the last thing to do in the account. So good for you. But otherwise, you can get to the custom report. You can order which custom reports data you want to have on there, get your main portal admin to create it for you. And all they have to do, schedule, put your name on the list here, schedule, and you have your reports anytime of the week you want. So I hope that helps. And I hope that gives you a quick overview again of how branch admins work with reports. There is a question that I can see here. Okay, there's a question from Henrik. Okay, so you will give them access to your main domain that they can see and create their own custom reports. Henrik, this is pretty much the easiest way that you can go about it. Otherwise, they're going to email you every day. Can you get me this report? So good thought there. This is a question for Jason, and while Irene is looking for more, I'm going to answer this. Follow-up question to instructor-led training. I think I remember your question before about attendance. We see the printable attendance report sheet, but how is the attendance actually recorded in TalentLMS? I kind of touched it before, but I know that that was among a lot of information. So the attendance is marked if you click on the join button. I'm going to show you which join button I'm talking about. As an instructor, let's say we're going into, I think this was the course that had, yep, there we go. So we have a live webinar right there. So what you see is that here, there is a join button. I'm going to just zoom in for a very quick moment there. You see it? This join button gets activated about 15 minutes before the session starts. So anybody who clicks physically out of the registered users, anybody who physically clicks on the join button, then they are marked as attended. So that is the case there. That's how you mark attendance. Now, if you have an integration, we do work with Microsoft Teams, Zoom webinars, Zoom meetings, Big Blue Button, go to meeting, go to training, go to webinar. If you work with those, yes, we will still track the attendance if you click join here, but we will not track how much time somebody spent or when they left. For example, like in this webinar, we can see the amount of people. In TalentLMS, everybody would be attended. If some of you drop out, which I hope you don't, then you would not be able to see that in TalentLMS. You would see it in Zoom. So I hope that helps. Irini, any questions that we can answer?
Definitely. There is a question coming from Brenda. Is there a way to allow users to change the portal's language without giving them access to change their profile info, such as their email? I know it's not report related, but I think that it's an interesting question. So we definitely need to
Definitely.
answer it.
Definitely, definitely. And that's a very interesting question as well, because it works both with user permissions and with your portal. So let me just go back and become an admin. And if you have multiple user types, you can always switch from your drop down up there. So let me just wrap my head around it a little bit. So you don't want people to to change their profile as in like their email, but you want them to change the language of the portal. Well, if I go to the user types here, and I'm gonna go, let's say, to the learner, but I'm gonna do it for the admin now, just in case. You can always just go back to the profile right there, you see, and you can allow them to read updates and reset or not reset the password. You see, there's not a way to separate what they will not or what they will be able to change. So the quick answer to that is no. You cannot separate changing their profile email versus changing the profile language. Because if you allow them to update their profile, they will go, as you will see on my info. And as I can change my own email, which also you can see here, I can also change my language. So that's a no. But what you can do is you can have branches based on languages. So if your portal supports branches, if your plan supports branches, you can have branches which are dedicated for the language. So let's talk about Spanish. You can have Spanish branch or any other language, and you can set the default language of the branch being the one you want your users to have. And then you can add those users to that specific branch and remove the permission from them to update their profile altogether, because then there's no language that they need to update if you add them into the respective language branch. So I hope that's a workaround that could help. And there's another one here from Caroline. How can I, as an admin, register people for this event so you push them in the training? I know what you mean. That is actually sometimes a task that you as an instructor have to do. So I'm going to go back as an instructor here, and I'm going to show you exactly that. So if I go into my trusted course here and I go to the live session, you see here you have 0 registered users. This is something that you only see as a number. So click on registered users, and from there you see the course users, right? And then you see the session users. If I go to the course users right here, of course you can add them one by one, but I'm not going to lie to you, we're honest here, that would be a torture if you had to do it for 20 people, 50 people, 100 people. So what you need to do is expand your page a little bit so you get a larger selection. So at least you do it in selections of 20, and then hover next to the user, you have it, select pretty much all of them, and mass actions and add people to the session that you want them to be added. So that is the easy way. You can add people manually to the session. This way, just expand, select, click, and add. And if you even click again, add, and add the same users, pretty much nothing will happen. They're already added. Nothing changes for them. So I hope that helps. Irini, we have time for one last question.
I have a question for you since you are so passionate about the infographics. How many sections can my infographic have? An anonymous attendee is asking.
That is a very, very good question. So let me just go back as an admin. And if I go back to my infographics right there, yes, you can have lots of sections. You can go there and you can add sections. So if you want to add sections all the way to the end, click add section and pick and choose pretty much lots of different sections. You can have up to 15 sections, 15 sections. And each section can have up to 5 data items each time. So I can have 15 sections, and I can have up to 5 items this time. You see, the moment I click on the fifth, I cannot click on another one unless I release something and then I replace it with something else. So that's it. And a final one from Alpha. So Alpha is asking, we can set a new password we can set a new password of a specific user as an admin, but can we know the old password, what was said before? Well, no, no. Passwords are unique. So that's a quick no, I'm afraid. However, one thing that I will tell you before I attempt to sneeze. If you use SSO, so if we go back and you get to the account settings, and from there into the user settings, and you have set up single sign-on there, which is again the SSO integration that you can have. So one employee of your company would have access in all of their tools with the same logins. Then you might want to talk to your IT team, because we are not in a position to advise on what settings the SSO would have and what your IT team would be able to access. But in Talent LMS, there's no way that you can know the previous password of somebody, and there's no way that you would be able to, just go further and work with passwords of people who have already changed it to what it is now. And to be honest, since they have changed it, the passwords only works as their new password, so the old password wouldn't actually be of any use. And okay, I'm gonna do one more, and then there's no more because we're gonna run out of time. But again, trainingteam@talentlms.com, that is the email address to use. Ninika is asking, how do you edit the infographic section? Let me just go back for a quick moment. So that's reports, that's infographics, and you go to the 3 dots to create a new infographic right there, and you can always just click, and now you open up the editor, and of course you can edit the sections there, You can always work with the settings, and you can always go further down, add more sections. We said 15 with 5 items per section. You can always lock your settings right there, and then you can always just go and enjoy the data of your infographic. So I hope that helps. Perfect. So we've answered lots of questions, and I think that this is the time to start letting you go for now, for today. So, what I would like to address is that you can always send us an email. I've said it lots of times, Irene said it as well before. Send us an email. That is trainingteam@talentlms.com. And we are more than happy to help with any questions that you bring forward. Even screenshots, if you want advice on something, we're definitely out there to help. If you want to see more webinars, that is talentlms.com/webinars. And of course, there you will also find our upcoming webinars and you will see our past webinars as well. We're definitely going to upload this recording. We're going to email you this recording as well. So there's no way that you can miss it. And we have answered your questions. So we have a question back to you. And this is something that we see already on the chat right now. So thank you for the nice feedback. We would love to hear your feedback. So now on the chat, there's a form. You can click on that. You can provide your feedback there. And we would love to see what you think about this webinar and, of course, what suggestions you might have. When you close this window, again, you will still have access to that feedback. That's a nice feature that Zoom allows. And you will be able again to share your thoughts. Thank you so much, Ben behind the scenes. Thank you so much, Irini, for being here.
Thank you, Theo, and thank you all for joining today with us.
And of course, we're looking forward to seeing you in our next sessions. Thank you for being here and have a happy training. And of course, get started with reports and send us your questions. Take care.